You guys, I hate to bring it to you, but we got to do an update. Have you ever watched a grown man apologize for being right? Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. Stephen A. Smith, he just folded like a cheap Walmart lawn chair, y'all, like in a hurricane. He has backpedaled faster than Deion Sanders in his prime. And for what? Why? Why did he do it? He did it to appease a mob of matriarchal miscreants who they don't even have a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out of. So the same man who said, I'm a straight shooter, he just allowed a harem of orangutans, these female imbeciles who cannot manage their misery. He just let them buck break him. And they broke him so bad, y'all. Like literally, his jaw is sore. But then I wondered, I said, well, maybe Roland. Did Roland do that? I'm just trying to see some. Y'all know Roland. Roland like jumping in people's behind and stuff. But anyway, Stephen A. Smith, he just pulled out the Disney approved script of compliance and he bowed both knees to Queen C, that is Queen with a K. And Jasmine Crockett is who we're talking about. And I thought about this and I said, it's no wonder why. I mean, no one has any respect for Black men. And so we're going to talk about it coming up next on Unshakable with Chapman. Let's get into this. Praise and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I'm your host, Chapman, and welcome to today's show. So, y'all, I am back, and we are about to watch the great backpedal Stephen A. Smith. He's the self-proclaimed straight shooter who he had the entire internet buzzing when he dared to tell the truth about Jasmine Crockett. And y'all, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw him do it, I had to give credit where credit was due. And I was so proud of Stephen, even though I've disagreed with him on so many things in the past, but I gave Buddy his flowers. And I did it because y'all, I didn't think he had the guts. I didn't think he had the guts to say what needed to be said. But to be fair, y'all, he was quite gentle with Jasmine. I mean, he was easy on her in light of all that she has said and how she really needs to be dealt with. He went really easy on Jasmine. But Stephen A, he went on his show and he said what all of us were thinking. He said, look, this woman's behavior is embarrassing and she is ineffective. And she's got to figure something else out because this is not it. She's loud, she's condescending. And he explained how she is representing everything that's wrong with the orangutan matriarchy that dominates our culture. He didn't say that. Those were my words, emphasis mine. But for 5 seconds, I said, wow. I said, Stephen A, he is coming into his own and he done finally grew a spine. Well, it didn't last very long. Okay. It turns out that the spine that we thought that Stephen A had, it was rented. It was rented from ESPN and either Disney or his own weakness and cowardice came to snatch it right on back. So because of that, now instead of standing on truth and giving this woman some advice that would show the world that we all see that this is a problem, but he's the one that had the courage and the platform to say it. He has decided now to go on a show and through a diatribe of disjointed schizophrenic talking points, he sheepishly muzzles up his own voice and he utters an apology that no one of importance or actual relevance asks for and that no one out here actually respects. It's so bad, y'all, you can literally hear Mickey Mouse whispering in his earpiece saying, you know what, Steven? You know what? You know you need to apologize because all those miserable ratchetings, the DEI delegation, they going to come after you. So you don't need to go on there and apologize now. Like, that's what happened. Mickey Mouse with a Southern drawl. I don't know where that accent came from because Mickey Mouse is not Southern, but that's what happened. That is exactly what happened. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a listen to this apology. And I'm going to give you guys front row seats, courtside seats, if you will, so that you can witness what it looks like to see a man who is now the poster child for leadership without a backbone. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Welcome to this special edition of Straight Shooter with Stephen A. That's what I'm going to call this, Straight Shooter.
A special edition. That means this was not regularly scheduled programming, that he had to take time out of his schedule to record this because it was that important. Like the matriarchal brigade, they came at him so hard, either them or Roland Martin. You about to find out what happened. Anyway, let me stop. Let me just let him finish.
With Stephen A. because obviously this doesn't have anything to do with sports. This has a lot to do with a whole brouhaha that's been going on with me over the last few weeks. Now, I will tell you, I apologize for not speaking about this earlier. If you took a close-up of my face right now, you'll see the right side of my face swollen. I had emergency double root canal surgery. And so I've been down and out and drugged up and stuff like that over the last few days, trying to overcome this stuff. But nevertheless, it is what it is. I'm here right now.
Y'all, the jokes write themselves. Like, honestly, I would have left that part out. It leads me to believe that Stephen A. cannot read the room, that he didn't realize just how much people were truly advocating for him. I've noticed that individuals like this who actually care about public opinion, what they will do is they will maximize the voices that are in the minority, and those voices will be elevated and made to be louder than what they are. And then it leads them to do what he is about to do. But I really wish that he would have left the part out about his root canal and his jaw being swollen, because it didn't help us with these jokes that we are about to write. But let's let him finish.
I wanted to take a moment because I saw something disturbing in regards to President Donald Trump and how he came at Representative Jasmine Crockett. And I wanted to take this opportunity to attack this issue as it pertained to me and Jasmine Crockett, because I personally have had an issue with how things have been misconstrued and misinterpreted.
So he's starting off before he gets to the apology, he is starting off with a big whataboutism, meaning I have to talk about Donald Trump and what he says and his behavior and what he does. And then that will legitimize me to saying, well, he is wrong, but I still shouldn't have held the sister girl queen with a K accountable. And the only thing that I'll say about that is this. I understand that a lot of people do not like the president. They think a lot of his behavior is beneath the office of the president. And you know what? Under normal circumstances, I honestly, you're not going to get any argument or disagreement from me on that. However, for example, I'm a mom and I'm raising my children, and my children understand that how I am raising them is how I am raising them. And just because monkey see doesn't mean that the monkey do. Like monkey see, monkey do is no. My children are able to see some of the things that President Trump does. But because their father is the priest and shepherd of this home, and because we together are raising them, they know about the standard that we have set. And to be honest, we don't care about what everybody else is doing. We care about what you do. And so he's about to go on. To me, this is a very juvenile level of argumentation to explain why he criticized her, and then to swoop in like Captain Save-A-Ho to come to her defense because Orange Man bad and Black Queen good. That's what y'all about to hear.
But at the end of the day, I have to own it. And that's what I'm going to do today. And so when somebody says to me, Stephen, rather than point to her and her verbiage and her language and how she talked about the president, what about how he talks? I have no problem with that.
You should have a problem with that. Okay? Because the ethnic image of white people They do not believe that Donald Trump is bringing down their ethnic image because they view themselves as individuals. They can separate Donald Trump as Donald Trump. We are who we are. We hired him to do a job, and what he does is what he does. You can like it or lump it, but it is what it is. But for us, knowing that our ethnic image is already in the pits, and knowing that there is a heavy burden due to the stereotypes of the prevailing narrative due to certain elements of our culture that seem to get more visibility than others, you don't think it's an obligation for you to say, you know what, I don't care about what he does. We're not doing whataboutism. We're talking about you. We're trying to hold you accountable for your actions. We don't care what Donald Trump is doing. That's y'all's problem. You are too obsessed and preoccupied with what everybody else is doing as opposed to being worried about what's going on your side of the street. So now he's about to apologize.
I can understand that. And if that is the reason that everybody is in an uproar, that is fine. And I have no problem apologizing to that to my sister because, damn it, I want her to know I don't feel that way about her. Just like I didn't feel that way about Kamala Harris. Just like I don't feel that way about the marvelous, the wonderful, the incomparable, the greatest first lady ever, and Michelle Obama, in my estimation, or anybody else. But what we're going to do on this show is understand who the hell I am and how it's going to be as long as I'm doing this show. I have no problem apologizing if I'm wrong. I have no problem apologizing if I've made somebody feel a certain kind of way. But I'm going to challenge the legitimacy of what people come at me with when I think that challenge is warranted and deserved. If you came to me and you said to me that it came across as a bit dismissive, Stephen, you should have been more protective of her than that because look at how he speaks. Look at how they act on Capitol Hill towards her. I understand that.
No one's acting. See, that's the thing. Okay, so these are a lot of straw man arguments. No one is acting toward Jasmine in any way. Jasmine receives the energy that she puts out. You have other Democrat, female, black senators, not state senators, U.S. senators. They don't get this kind of, they do not experience nowhere near as much, they don't experience anything in terms of negative interaction or engagement like Jasmine Crockett does, because Jasmine Crockett is the origin of all of this drama. She's the one that lacks self-control. She is the one that is unable to govern herself accordingly. She starts it and then they finish it. So the argument that, you should have been more protect. Why are we always protecting the worst of us? The worst reflections of us that are out and get the visibility on the main stage. Why are we what is there to protect? What are you protecting? Is this, Stephen, let me ask you this. Is this how you want your daughter to act? You have a daughter. I've seen her. She is gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. I love when y'all get on camera together and you're the doting father and she's looking at you all bright-eyed and starry-eyed as the daddy of all daddies. Is this how you want your daughter to behave? I know it's not. That was probably part of the motivating and driving factor that caused you to say what you said, because you have a daughter and you want her to be successful and you want her to be smart and fearless and all of that. But you don't want her acting like Jasmine Crockett, because you know that the odds are high that if your daughter comes out and acts like a Jasmine Crockett, that the chances of you being a grandpa in the confines of a marriage, like someone finding your daughter, marrying her and wanting to raise a family with her, you know that those odds are very, very low if she conducts and acts herself like a Jasmine Crockett. Now, I can't prove this, but knowing how men think and how men are raising their daughters, I can't help but to think or assume that was on the forefront of your mind when you said what you said. But it's obvious you're not a man of conviction, because it didn't motivate you enough. It didn't motivate you enough to stand on business and say what you said and keep it moving. That part we know.
But when somebody tries to take that to accuse me of being disrespectful or in any way misogynistic, I'm going to push back on that because that's emphatically false. There's no truth to that whatsoever, and I'm not accepting that, and I'm not owning that. I can sit up there and I can look at Representative Jasmine Crockett. Do you know what I think she should be doing? I think she should be competing for the Senate seat in Texas.
And this is when I realized that you were stupid. Because if you're saying that and you honestly believe that as a deeply held presupposition, like that's a conviction that you hold to and thinks that she should be running for a Senate seat representing the state of Texas, you're not a leader. And we really are not listening to anything that you have to say going forward because you lack wisdom and logic and reason, and you're real low on common sense. There's no way a woman like that should be representing the great state of Texas. In a ratcheting matriarchal miscreant, a female imbecile who cannot manage her misery, and so she shows out. You think that that's a good representation for Texas? Yeah, okay.
Or for the attorney general spot, because she's qualified.
Wait a minute. So a woman who believes in open borders, who doesn't believe it's a crime for illegals to come here, just leave the spigot open, let them come, who wants to defund the police, who doesn't have a favorable view of law and order, who is a professional disruptor and a Marxist-minded, melanated Negro. This is who you want to be the Attorney General of the state of Texas, the top cop in the whole state. So you want a Kamala Harris 2.0, just without any. Jasmine doesn't even have the results or the resume nowhere close to what Kamala Harris had. This woman's accomplished nothing. Now, the difference between them, we don't have any knowledge or public known information of Jasmine being on her back to make her way to the top. But we know that was the case with Kamala Harris. You voted for that. You voted for the older Ratchetang, and now you just want to repackage her with a lace front and some butterfly lashes, but with a less stellar resume. Outside of, listen, going to law school is an accomplishment, but going to law school enough doesn't make you qualified to be the AG. It just doesn't. We're still looking for legislation that she's authored that was going to provide any sort of positive results or move not just the Black community, but Americans in general, that were going to improve our lives. And we have none. If anything, she has voted for the very thing that has made this country worse. The sexualization of our children. She's a part of the Equality Caucus, which means she's more pro-LGBTQIA, Libiquia. She's a part of the Libiquia crowd, and she'll cape and advocate for the Libiquia crowd more than she will for any other segment of the population. That's where her loyalty lies, because that George Soros money wants to fund more sexual perversion and chaos. She is anti-school choice, which means she wants all of your children to stay in a failing school. And if your daughter, Stephen A., was in the public school system, that would include your daughter too. But I know you're a Black elite, so that doesn't affect you. You're boule too. So there could be another reason why he's backpedaling. If I'm not mistaken, he's a member of Omega Psi Phi. Jasmine Crockett is a member of Delta Sigma Theta. And so therefore, that is his sister. That's his boule sister, his Divine Nine sister. And that's where his loyalty lies. So it doesn't matter that what he said about her was true. He's got to bow the knee to the woke mob, the false god of all those false gods and idolatrous, the Divine Nine foolishness. And then just on the sake of being a part of the culture of Blackness, he's got to side with them for that reason. So that could be where this apology is coming from. But I'm going to let him finish and then I'm going to cook.
I personally think Kamala Harris should have ran for governor of California.
You didn't even want her to win the presidency. And now you're saying you think Kamala should have ran for governor of California. On what basis? This woman couldn't even, she didn't get nominated by vote to be the Democratic nominee. You guys were told that this was your candidate because your sock puppet in a suit, Joe Biden, was unable to run. You didn't think that she was the right candidate for the job as president, but now you think she's the right candidate for governor. You really are dumb. I held out so much hope for you. I did. I really did. But I can no longer, in good faith, believe that you have common sense and that you are operating in any sort of good faith. Who are you, Stephen A? You're just the shell of a person. You're an empty suit and a chestless man. Because what you're saying now completely contradicts the prevailing narrative of what you were saying when she was on the campaign trail. You didn't really think that Kamala was the best man for the job, but you went along to get along because that's what weak men do.
I've said it for the record that if Michelle Obama was running for president, she would have beat Trump, in my opinion. I think she'd have done it. That's how I feel. But somehow, some way, it's never enough for some people out there. I understand. I would advise you to get over it or buckle up because I'm not going away. This is my show.
Is it?
I will say what I feel and I will do what I want.
We don't believe that. We don't believe that, Stephen A. Because if this was your show and you say what you want to say and do what you want to do, why are you apologizing? What did you say that was wrong? What did you say was a mischaracterization of Jasmine Crockett's behavior? What did you say that was out of line or disrespectful or led people to believe that you were a misogynist? Nothing you said was the hatred of women. Nothing you said led anyone to think that. No one thinks that but the brain dead matriarchal miscreants that came after you. And I'm trying to understand, why do you care about what they think so much? You can't take the heat, can you? Just can't take the heat. I'm going to let him wrap it up and finish because I have so many meals that I want to make right now. I've got to cook. I got to cook.
Going to be insensitive. It doesn't mean that I don't care about our community. A matter of fact, most of the trouble I get in is because I care about our community.
I don't care that much.
And the reason I'm bringing this up and the reason that I'm willing to attack this subject, because this really ain't about Jasmine Crockett. I respect her. I wish her nothing but the best. I was simply asking a question. That's all. What's working for you?
Not what she's doing.
Because I don't want her to lose the prowess that she has. I want it to continue to gain and elevate. We need resistance to what we see going on in the streets of America. I asked a question. I get it now with Trump feeding into that nonsense, giving him fodder or ammunition to continue to go out there and talk about our black women that way.
Notice how they keep making this about Trump. I've never seen Trump just decide to go on a tirade about black women for no reason. I've seen Trump celebrate black women worthy of celebration who are doing things that are worthy of accolade, calling them beautiful. I've seen that. I've not seen Donald Trump just randomly go on the attack of a black woman who did not come for him first or who disrespected him first. I've never seen that. I've just never seen that. But they have to create the boogeyman. They have to create the boogeyman, and they have to have the villain for you to hate in order to legitimize their inadequacy and their poor outcomes and their bad behavior. Because what he said about Jasmine Crockett was not wrong. But in order to ameliorate and make the mob feel good, he's got to gloss over what she's actually doing and put the focus and the attention and change the narrative to what he is doing. When this ain't got nothing to do with Trump. This is everything to do with her behavior, her lack of self-control, and her ineffectiveness. That's what this is about. And so I don't know. Nothing he's going to say. This is like a 9-minute apology. I will link it below so that you can go ahead and watch it. But in terms of me playing it some more, I think you have a gist, or you've received the gist of what he's actually saying. What he does is he apologizes for criticizing Jasmine Crockett, and then he lays at her feet all of these celebratory platitudes and lauds how wonderful and smart and brilliant she is, and how he thinks she can be the next attorney general of the state of Texas, or how she should run for Senate, and he wants her to keep going. I thought it was ineffective what she's doing. Why would you want something like that to be to perpetuate and to continue if it was ineffective and harmful to the culture? This is how we know you lying. My question is, how are you trying, Stephen A, to position yourself as a leader in the Black community when you can't even stand on objective truth without folding to the mob? Because see, leadership is not about applause. When everybody's clapping for you and telling you attaboy and celebrating, leadership, it's not even about how many people like you. Only children care about who likes them. Real men are concerned with who respects them. They don't care about whether you like or love them. That is manhood 101. It is women who want, need love and desire and want you to just make them feel good. It is men who thrive from respect. That is what manhood is about. This is about conviction, and true convictions oftentimes will require you to stand alone. It's about standing alone when everybody else is bowing. You're standing. Why do I have to teach you this, Stephen A? I promise you, I've said it before. I promise you, sometimes I feel like I have more testosterone in my hormonally challenged and unbalanced perimenopausal body than some of these whole grown men, and that is not a compliment. I'm not celebrating that at all. I wish it was in the reverse. But I can't say that, because where's your courage, sir? Why must you prove us right and be out here acting like a chestless man? This is shameful for you to backpedal on this. Maybe something else, if you were maybe uncharitable or harsh, but you were spot on with this. It's the scriptures that teach us that the fear of man is a trap, y'all. It lays a snare. But it's those who trust in the Lord. Those who trust in the Lord, those are the ones who are safe. You can't be afraid of the Black woke mob. First of all, them ninjas don't even have enough power for you to even be afraid of. Okay, like, why are you scared of them? They're just a ball of emotions. All they do is emote and make a big deal out of nothing, because it's all they have. They project, they emote, they complain, they don't get anything done. And you bowed the knee to them. You bowed the knee to people who were caping for Kamala Harris to be in office because they thought she was the best candidate for the job. How are you terrified of upsetting that group of people? How were you terrified of upsetting a group of women who weaponize outrage like it's a side hustle, yet it never cash flows? Oh, they work real hard dishing out their outrage, but it doesn't get them anywhere. So you could have just said what you said and let the chips fall where they may. But no, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that. And y'all, this is why the Black community is stagnant. We just stuck. We are stuck because the so-called men who are supposed to be the leaders are scared of the women. Yeah, I said it. We don't respect you because you can't protect and lead, and you darn sure can't correct what you're afraid to confront. So why would we respect you? This is why we have to leave Stephen A in the category of clowns, where he belongs. I'm sorry, I was trying to bring him along, but he can't go. He can't go where we're going, guys. He can't go because how are you trying to pivot from sports to politics and cultural commentary when every time you say something that somebody doesn't like, you fold. You're talking about that's your show and you say what you want to say. No, this is my show. I actually say what I want to say. I'm not folding or bowing to a mob of people who disagree with me and get their feelings hurt. Feelings? These facts don't care about your feelings. And this is not the first time Stephen A's done this. Do y'all remember the time when during sports commentary, which is what he does, he had some harsh critique for LeBron James's son? Do y'all remember that? I'm not a sports person, but I remember that, and I was like, okay, he's kind of right. The boy's not that good, right? He's just not that good. But when LeBron rolled up to him at a game and confronted him, he folded. Instead, he was supposed to stand up like a man and say, listen, this is my job. Perhaps if you taught your boy how to hoop, he'd know how to play. I wouldn't have to have the harsh criticism for him if the boy had skills, but his skills are trash. Do better. Deal with it. And then he should have just walked off. That's what he should have said. That's what he should have said, but he didn't. You claim to say what you want to say, but in this case, you then turn around and you praise Jasmine Crockett as qualified to, I'm like, qualified for what? In his estimation, he said he believes that she should be running for Senator of Texas or Attorney General. And I'm like, so you just gonna be out here lying like that? Like,
flag on the plate.
You just gonna be out here lying like that, just blowing smoke up that girl's behind, knowing good and goddamn well that she ain't got a chance to actually win any of those in a general election. You really do hate black people if that's what you really think. Like, for you to say that, you spoke those words and you said it as if you believed it. And that's the part that's concerning and unsettling, because you really expect us to believe that this woman who struggles to string together a coherent argument without lying, without cussing or yelling over people or invoking her inner ghetto hood rats, you believe that she's qualified to legislate or interpret the law when she's had all the years since she's been in Congress to demonstrate that with her actions and her behavior and her conduct, and she has failed miserably. All she's done is go viral for all the wrong things and has the spotlight and the attention on her for all the wrong things. But if that's your argument, then you were just as delusional as the orangutans who came after you, and y'all are like two peas in a pod. You deserve each other. Go back on over there with them, Stephen. We thought you could come hang out with us for a little bit. We get to know you, but we got to send you back. Because you didn't just walk back your statement. What you did was you conceded to a lie. You conceded to a lie when men are supposed to take the heat and the arrows, whatever comes, for the sake of what's right. And you couldn't even do that. So you're just making it up, and now you're out here lying. So the question we need to ask ourselves, why does this matter? Like, if this was just about Stephen A. Smith, this video would end right now. But I can't end it right now because this is bigger. It's bigger than Stephen A. This is a pattern. This is a pattern of black men bowing to the feminist mob, also that they can avoid being labeled misogynistic. I'm like, you've got men out here apologizing for calling out dysfunction. And they're doing it because the loudest voices in the room are the chaotic ones, and the chaos is coming after them and they can't handle it. Like, this is the result of 3 generations, I say it all the time, of bastards raising bastards. This is the outcome. This is what you get. The matriarchal squalor. This is where the culture has no appetite. They can't hear anything from a man. They have no point of reference for it. They don't even know what it sounds like. It should be music to their ears, but it's so foreign to them that when they hear it, it sounds like an attack. So they're crashing out. But I want to make something painstakingly clear. Accountability is not misogyny. When you tell a woman the truth about her behavior, that is not oppression. That is a truthful observation that when you love someone, you whisper that to them, and then sometimes you shout it from the rooftops because it ain't just for them. That truth claim needs to be echoed and heard across the culture so that you can make an actual difference. But the moment that you lie and the moment you do it and you bow the knee to them, this is where the matriarchal misfits, they come crying sexism and claiming you're a misogynist, and they start twerking on the corpse of logic and just abandoning reason. They can't think straight. These are the same people who celebrated Kamala Harris and Meg the Stallion and Sexy Red. And I'm like, we're expecting them to enlist the help of logic and reason and to take in what Stephen A said originally. You're expecting them to take his advice under advisement and govern themselves accordingly. You can't possibly believe that. These women are rebellious. They don't submit to anyone. This is why the culture is trash. This is why the culture is one big chaotic mess. And this is why our men are so weak. Because these are the women who raised them. Y'all, Stephen A. Smith had the opportunity of a lifetime to own his greatness and to lead. And in that moment, he would have, by holding the line, he would have been showing the next generation of men that you can stand firm and still get respect. But instead, all he did was show them that when you fear cancellation by high-calorie, self-absorbed, ratchet hyenas, that outweighs the truth and even the fear of God in most cases. And so you got to pick a side, and he picked his. But do you want to know what's ironic? What's so ironic, y'all, is that even his own audience, his loyal fans, are calling him weak. Let me show y'all. I got to show y'all these. This is wild. This is wild. Here we go. This dude is soft. He talked tough and aggressive. The next thing he apologizes, then get humbled. I'm so confused. Now, guys, he didn't fold. He just neatly placed himself in a drawer. Dang, Stephen A. Smith folded to the code of black and the code of black women over white whataboutisms. He said, you did all that just to apologize? This guy is so damn weak. I have no respect for this guy. John Witherspoon voice, flip-flopping in, bruh, you can't be serious. Well, if Stephen A. Smith planned on running for any political office, that's done now. This guy wouldn't last in a debate. Stephen A. Smith is apologizing. What a shock. What is the point to be a straight shooter if apologizing for everything you say? Never trusting this man again. He keeps flip-flopping. Tiffany Cross was right. Little D energy. Next thing he gonna say, Crockett could be president. This guy. Woo! Snoop apologized, and now Stephen A. No one thinks for themselves anymore. They say, I think, then take something back days later. No one seems genuine. Spoken like a true coward that he is. There's no substance to Stephen A. Wow, what good is having your own platform and money if you can't even stick to your own guns? This is weak as hell. ESPN said, hey, Stephen A., can we speak with you real quick? Listen, all bark, no bite. You know it's bad. Y'all, this apology got ratioed. In the YouTube world, when you get ratioed, that means the ratio of your likes to dislikes is like upside down, inverted. And there were more people who hated this video than loved it. This video, y'all, this is bad. This video, it got ratioed really badly. This is his fault. His own audience, you guys, they no longer respect him. They're calling him weak. They're disappointed because deep down, you guys, we all crave leadership. All of us do. And in today's culture, we're absolutely starving for men who won't cave when the culture claps back. So we're looking, in essence, we're looking for a generation of men who just have some virtue, who have virtue and that are willing to just stand on business. But instead, y'all, we got to deal with this. And this man, this whole millionaire with a microphone, he had a chance to set the tone. Y'all, all he had to do was just hold the line. That's all he had to do. All he had to do was hold the line, rise above the riffraff, but instead, y'all, he sent the message that truth doesn't even matter. Truth doesn't matter. Courage is conditional. It's okay to be weak because when the kitchen gets hot, you just turn on the fan. Okay, so Stephen, listen, if you're listening, you cannot, you need to change the name of this show for one. You can't be a straight shooter when your aim bends every time someone gets offended. What are you shooting at? What are you shooting at? You weren't even supposed to care you weren't even supposed to care what they thought because remember, Stephen A., you're the one that said that you said what you said. So why do you even care? This goes back to what I said. Real men lead. Real men lead. Real leaders stand. And sometimes standing alone, like by yourself, sometimes that's the only way to stand for something that matters. So this apology, y'all, it might win him brownie points with, the Twitter followers and the TikTok feminists. But y'all, the rest of us, even his own audience, we see right through it. You cannot fix what you're too afraid to face. And right now, the Black community's biggest problem is not white supremacy. It's not Donald Trump. It is weak male leadership. Because from that, everything else flows. Stephen A. didn't just backpedal. He proved my point. The point was the moment you start worshiping public approval, you have forfeited your own voice. So the idea that you got a platform and you say what you want to say, nobody believes you. Stephen A., this was a weak-kneed, jellyback soy boy move if I ever saw one. And now you have to, you got to eat crow. So listen, I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Do you think that there was corporate pressure for Stephen A. to apologize, or it was just the cultural pressure from the bliggities, from the pro wokety woke blackity blacks? It was the blacks, right, that put all the pressure on Stephen A. And for whatever reason, he really thinks that what they think matters and that they actually have some power to do something to him. Do you think that's why he bowed the knee? I don't know, but I'm curious to know. Whatever it is you guys think, leave me a comment down in the box below. And until next time, you guys, stand firm. Don't be Stephen A. Stand firm. Stay bold. And above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.